Have you ever noticed how some conversations leave you feeling more drained than uplifted? As we grow older, our time, energy, and peace of mind become sacred. They are no longer luxuries, they are essential to living well. Even in our 70s or 80s, many of us still find ourselves tied to relationships that quietly wear us down. Sometimes it's habit. Sometimes it's guilt. But with age comes the wisdom to realize, choosing who not to engage with is just as important as choosing who to invite closer. In today's video, we'll gently explore 6 types of people you might want to think twice about keeping close. Not because you're cold or unkind, but because you've earned the right to protect your peace and joy. Often these aren't obvious enemies. They can be old friends, family members, even neighbors. But as our needs change, so must the company we keep. Stay with us until the end. You'll not only recognize these patterns but also feel more empowered to build a circle that truly nurtures your well-being in this beautiful season of life. Let's begin. Number 1. People who make you feel like a burden. As we age, one of the most heartbreaking experiences isn't physical decline. It's the subtle feeling that you are somehow too much for others. That your needs are inconvenient, your presence is an obligation, your requests for help are a strain. These are the people who, whether they realize it or not, make you feel like a burden. And after 70, protecting yourself from this kind of energy is not just wise, it's essential. At first, the signs can be small. A sigh when you ask for a ride. A rushed tone when you call for a little company. An eye roll when you need a moment longer to climb the stairs. It might not even be deliberate. But over time, these moments build up. And if you're not careful, they begin to chip away at your sense of dignity. You might catch yourself saying, "I'm sorry for bothering you," even when you're asking for something perfectly reasonable. You might stop reaching out altogether, choosing isolation over the fear of being a burden. But hear me clearly, you are not a burden. Your needs do not make you weak. Your existence is not an inconvenience. You have spent a lifetime giving, raising families, building communities, supporting others through every storm. Now, needing a little more support in return is not a failure. It is simply the natural, beautiful circle of human life. Take Helen, a vibrant 81-year-old woman who loved baking and tending her garden. After a minor fall, she needed a little more help getting groceries. Her son, busy with work, often seemed impatient, making her feel guilty for even asking. For months, she internalized that guilt, quietly struggling alone. But one day Helen made a different choice. She reached out to a neighbor, a kind soul who gladly offered to pick up groceries during her own shopping trips. They shared laughs, recipes, and friendship. Helen realized, it wasn't about asking less, it was about asking the right people. And so it is for you. You deserve to be surrounded by people who see your needs not as burdens, but as opportunities to give back, to share love, to walk this season of life together. Being in your 70s, 80s, or beyond is not about shrinking yourself to fit someone else's convenience. It's about standing tall in your dignity, embracing the beautiful truth that you still belong, fully, joyfully, completely. If you find yourself surrounded by those who make you feel like too much, it's time, gently, lovingly, to step back. And to seek out those who make you feel treasured, not tolerated. You are still needed. You are still worthy. You are still a gift. Number 2. Age deniers who pressure you. Aging is as natural as breathing. Yet, not everyone walks this path with acceptance and grace. Some cling tightly to youth, not only in themselves, but they expect everyone around them to do the same. These are the age deniers. And after 70, their presence in your life can quietly but steadily make you question something that should be embraced. Your years, your pace, your hard-earned dignity. Age deniers aren't always obvious. They often wear the right clothes, say the right words, and even offer what sounds like encouragement. But underneath their polished smiles is an undeniable discomfort with the idea of growing older, both in themselves and even more so in you. You'll know them by the subtle ways they push. The friend who chuckles when you reach for a walking stick. The cousin who rolls their eyes when you admit you're ready for an early night. The neighbor who chirps, "You've still got time for a second career." When all you're longing for is a quiet morning and a warm cup of coffee. It's all framed as motivation, but what it truly lands as is pressure. And here's why it matters. Over time, if you're not careful, The steady drip of their discomfort seeps into your own thinking. You begin to question your own natural rhythms. You wonder if resting more means you're giving up. You hesitate before honoring your body's honest signals. But let me remind you of something beautiful. There is nothing shameful about aging. Nothing weak about slowing down. Nothing less than about choosing stillness over speed. In fact, there is deep power, great dignity, and profound beauty in living at your own rhythm. You have spent decades proving yourself, your strength, your ambition, your resilience. You have built families, businesses, dreams, homes. You have climbed the mountains life set before you. Now, you no longer need to hustle to be valuable. Your value is not tied to your pace. It is tied to your presence. There is extraordinary grace in choosing a quieter life, in savoring mornings, in resting when needed, in honoring the ebb and flow of your days without apology. Anyone who makes you feel ashamed of that deserves less of your time, not more. Let me share with you the story of Paul, a 79-year-old former contractor. Paul spent his life building homes, strong, enduring, beautiful structures. These days, his greatest joys are found in bird watching, journaling, and long, peaceful afternoons on his porch. Yet one of his old colleagues refused to understand, constantly teasing Paul for slowing down and urging him to join grueling hikes and adventures. Paul tried once or twice, but eventually he realized it wasn't his body that needed fixing. It was his friend's fear of what aging might mean. Paul stopped explaining, stopped apologizing, and started choosing his companions more carefully, friends who honored the life he loved exactly as it was. And so should you. After 70, you have every right, and every reason, to live without apology, without hustle, without pressure. You have earned the ease you now feel. You have earned the wisdom that guides you. You have earned the simple, profound pleasure of being at home within yourself. Surround yourself with people who honor your pace, who see your choices, whether lively or leisurely, as perfect for the season you are in. You do not need to prove you are still young. You only need to remain true to who you are, deeper, richer, more yourself than you have ever been. Because aging is not about diminishing. It is about becoming more fully, more beautifully, more unapologetically you. If this message resonated with you today, if you believe that growing older is not about decline but about becoming even more fully yourself, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're still with us. Your journey, your wisdom, deserves to be honored. And if you haven't already, I warmly invite you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the thoughtful content we create just for you. Your support allows us to keep building a community that uplifts, inspires, and respects every stage of life. Thank you for being here. Now let's move forward together, with grace, dignity, and a spirit that only grows brighter with time. Number 3. Manipulative relatives. As we move through the later seasons of life, the fabric of family naturally shifts and changes. Children become adults, grandchildren grow into their own lives, and siblings sometimes drift into unfamiliar roles. Along the way, often quietly and without ill intention, some of those closest to us begin to use emotional tactics to get what they want. One of the more painful realizations after 70 is this: not every family member is entitled to your time, your energy, or your resources. Manipulative relatives rarely reveal their true nature with harshness. More often, their influence comes wrapped in smiles and sentimental words. You never call me anymore. You wouldn't want to disappoint your grandchildren, would you? After everything I've done for you? Sounds like love. But if you listen closely to your heart, you'll feel something different. Pressure, guilt, and subtle coercion. There's an unspoken rule many families pass down. The idea that the older you get, the more you should give, forgive, endure, and expect less. But here's a quiet truth that deserves a louder voice. Aging does not mean your boundaries should weaken. If anything, they should be stronger, clearer, and more honored than ever before. We must also acknowledge something tender. Many older adults carry a quiet fear of being left out or forgotten. Manipulative relatives, whether knowingly or not, can lean on that fear, using it to request favors, financial help, emotional caretaking, or endless time that you may no longer have the strength or desire to give. And here's the danger. Over time, this can cause you to doubt your own instincts. Am I being selfish? Maybe I'm the one at fault. but deep inside you already know the difference. A true request leaves you feeling respected, free to say yes or no. Manipulation leaves you questioning your worth and your own goodness. It's important. No, it's essential to trust that feeling. Consider the story of Margaret, a 78-year-old grandmother. For years, she had lovingly agreed to babysit her grandchildren on weekends. What began as an occasional joy quietly morphed into an unspoken obligation. Weekend after weekend, Margaret felt her own needs, hobbies, and rest pushed aside, without even a word of gratitude in return. One day, after much soul-searching, she spoke up. "I love my grandchildren more than words can say," she told her daughter, "but I need my weekends back for myself." To her surprise, the backlash she feared never truly came. Her daughter adjusted, and Margaret discovered a newfound freedom, a quiet joy in reclaiming her time for her own passions, her own health, and her own peace. And so I tell you, from one heart to another, this is not about severing family ties or walking away in anger. It's about redefining what real love looks like. True love does not manipulate through guilt. True love respects boundaries. True love honors the whole of who you are, your time, your energy, your spirit. You are not here to exhaust yourself into your final days. You are here to live, to enjoy, to be cherished, and to cherish in return, in ways that feel mutual, joyful, and free. Number 4. People who dismiss your wisdom. One of the most subtle, yet most painful, forms of disrespect that older adults often encounter is being spoken to as if their wisdom has somehow expired. You may have seen it, perhaps more times than you care to count. It shows up when someone interrupts you mid-thought. It appears when a younger person gently waves away your opinion with a patronizing smile, silently suggesting, "You're from another time." These are the individuals who, intentionally or not, dismiss your wisdom. And after 70, you owe it to yourself to keep them at a respectful distance from your inner circle. At first, this behavior can seem harmless. A coworker half your age brushes off your advice. A neighbor's child teases you about being old-fashioned. Even loved ones, perhaps without meaning any harm, might joke about your memory or your ways. But here's what happens beneath the surface. Each small dismissal, each moment of being talked over or minimized, sends the same insidious message, that your perspective, your experience, your voice is somehow less important than it once was. And that is simply not true. You have lived through seasons and struggles they cannot even imagine. You have raised families, built careers, supported communities, endured losses, witnessed history, and adapted through unimaginable change. Your wisdom isn't a relic of the past. It is a living, breathing, hard-won treasure. And yet, when you are consistently surrounded by people who treat your insight as outdated or unnecessary, a quiet erosion begins. You might find yourself second-guessing your instincts. You might begin holding your tongue in conversations. You might start feeling invisible, not because you have nothing to say, but because the space to say it is no longer offered. That silence? It's not your natural way of being. It's a learned response to repeated disregard. Let me share a simple but poignant story. Leonard, an 82-year-old retired mechanic, had spent his life repairing engines and teaching others the intricacies of machinery. One day, when his granddaughter mentioned car troubles, he gladly offered some seasoned advice. She laughed and said, "Grandpa, I'll just ask Google." She didn't mean to wound him. She thought it was lighthearted. But the sting lingered, not because Leonard needed to be right, but because he felt unseen, a lifetime of hands-on knowledge brushed aside in a single sentence. This kind of dismissal is not the same as healthy disagreement. We can and should expect to encounter differing opinions. But there's a vast difference between a dialogue and a dismissal. Dialogue invites conversation. Dismissal silences it. After 70, you deserve to spend your precious energy in spaces, whether literal rooms or emotional circles, where your voice is welcomed, your stories are honored, and your thoughts are treated with the respect they have rightfully earned. And remember, it's not just about your own dignity. It's about the example you set for everyone around you. When you insist, quietly but firmly, that your wisdom matters, you send a profound message. Aging is not about fading away. It is about rising into a deeper, clearer, more luminous version of yourself. You are not a forgotten background character in someone else's story. You are, and always have been, the main act of your own magnificent life. Anyone who consistently treats your voice as background noise has forfeited the privilege of a front row seat in your journey. You do not need to argue. You do not need to demand recognition. You simply need to choose, gracefully, decisively, to spend your time and heart with those who truly see you. And that quiet act of choosing is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect there is. If these words resonate with you, if you find value in honoring your emotional health and boundaries, I invite you to comment number 4 below. It's a small act of courage, a way of affirming your journey to a life of deeper peace. And if you haven't already subscribed, I encourage you to do so, and turn on notifications, so you'll never miss a moment of inspiration designed especially for you. Your presence and your support mean the world to us. Now let's continue forward together. Number 5. Emotional drainers. As we journey further into life, we begin to recognize a subtle but powerful truth. Not everyone who crosses our path is meant to walk the entire road with us. Some individuals, without ever raising their voice or meaning harm, quietly siphon our energy away. These are what we might gently call emotional drainers. They don't shout. They don't criticize. In fact, many appear kind, caring, even comforting at first. But over time, you notice that every conversation seems to orbit around their fears, their sorrows, their endless troubles. No matter how brief the interaction, you leave feeling weighed down, emotionally depleted. In our younger years, we may have brushed it off, thinking it was just part of being a good friend. But after 70, we understand something deeper. Our emotional well-being isn't just important, it is vital to our health, our joy, and our sense of peace. Emotional drainers can take many forms. Perhaps it's an old friend who always seems to need saving. Maybe it's a neighbor who views your ear as a permanent sounding board for every complaint. Sometimes, heartbreakingly, it's someone you once leaned on during your own difficult seasons. The roles have reversed, but now, rather than offering mutual support, they lean endlessly without ever standing on their own. Here's how to tell the difference between someone navigating a rough patch and an emotional drainer. A true friend seeks healing and growth. They want to find their way forward. An emotional drainer simply wants to circle the same worries again and again, and they expect you to accompany them every lap of the way. In the beginning, it may feel noble to listen, even loving. But over time you realize their burdens have slowly become your own. And the heaviness, if left unchecked, accumulates. This isn't just a feeling, it's biological. Studies have shown that regularly absorbing the emotional stress of others can elevate your cortisol levels, the so-called stress hormone, which over time can impact your sleep, your immune system, your heart health, and even your overall happiness. So when you find yourself saying, "I feel drained after talking to them," listen. That isn't weakness. It's your body and your soul trying to protect you. And the truth is, no amount of advice, no depth of patience, no quantity of compassion can transform someone who isn't ready to change. Emotional drainers rarely heal simply because we stand beside them. In fact, the longer we enable the cycle, the deeper they may sink. Let me share with you the story of Margaret, a 74-year-old retired teacher. For years, Margaret faithfully answered daily calls from her longtime friend, Carol. Carol struggled deeply with anxiety and bitterness about the past. Margaret, with her generous heart, tried to listen and encourage her. But slowly, she noticed that these conversations left her feeling heavier each day, missing her morning walks, dreading the phone ringing. One afternoon, Margaret made a gentle decision. Instead of rushing to pick up the phone, she let it go to voicemail. She didn't sever the friendship, she simply redrew the boundary lines. She began to reclaim her afternoons, filling them with quiet strolls in the park, coffee with more uplifting friends, or simply moments of peace with a good book. Over time, she realized her spirit felt lighter, her days brighter. You see, you can love someone dearly and still choose to protect yourself. You can hold compassion in your heart while refusing to carry burdens that are not yours to bear. After 70, your emotional energy is no less sacred than your time or your health. You deserve to be surrounded by relationships that uplift you, nurture you, and remind you how beautiful this life still is. You have earned that grace. Claim it gently but firmly. Number 6. Chronic complainers. One of the clearest and most unmistakable signs that someone may no longer belong in your close circle is when they seem utterly unable to see the good in anything. You know the type well. No matter the day, the sunshine, the gathering, the blessings, they find a way to cloud it all. These are the chronic complainers. And if you are in your 70s or beyond, protecting yourself from their energy is not selfish. It's an essential act of self-care. At first, it can feel harmless enough. You sit down for a coffee or join a family dinner, and before your coffee has even cooled, the conversation has already spiraled into a litany of grievances. The noisy neighbor, the news, the government, their health, their family, their meals, their aches and pains. Nothing, it seems, ever goes right for them. And because you are kind, because you have spent a lifetime caring for others, your instinct might be to listen, to comfort, to try to lift them up. But over time, without realizing it, you pay a price. A subtle draining of your own light, your own joy. Why does this matter so much now? Because at this beautiful, precious stage of life, your energy is no longer something to be spent recklessly. You have walked through decades of giving, supporting, and carrying burdens, many that were never truly yours to carry. Now is your time, not to harden your heart, but to tend it more gently than ever before. Chronic complainers don't simply take up minutes on the clock. They quietly erode your spirit, one sigh, one grievance, one heavy conversation at a time. Psychologists even have a name for this: emotional contagion. It's the idea that the emotions of those around you can slip into your own heart without you realizing it. Sit too long with someone who is perpetually bitter or negative, and you may find yourself feeling heavier too, even if nothing has changed in your own life. And here's something we must not overlook. As we age, the emotional environment we live in affects us more profoundly than ever before. It touches our physical health, our motivation, our memory, our sleep, even our hopefulness about the future. Let me share a simple story. Harold, a 75-year-old widower, once met weekly with a close-knit group of longtime friends. At first, these gatherings were a source of comfort. But gradually, Harold began noticing a troubling pattern. He often left feeling more drained, more discouraged than when he arrived. Why? Because one friend, someone he had known for decades, never missed a chance to grumble, to criticize, to find fault with everything and everyone. The joy of the gathering was slowly being buried under a steady drizzle of negativity. Eventually, Harold made a brave, compassionate choice. He continued to meet with friends but chose smaller settings, ones that didn't include the chronic complainer. And almost immediately he noticed a shift. Laughter returned. Conversations lifted. Harold began looking forward to these gatherings again, not dreading them. The truth is simple and beautiful. It's okay to choose joy. It's okay to choose to be around people who uplift you instead of unloading on you. Being a good-hearted person does not mean being an endless well for other people's complaints. You can care about someone and still choose not to immerse yourself in their unchanging negativity. Letting go of chronic complainers doesn't mean you're turning your back on kindness. It means you are finally learning to extend that kindness inward, to yourself. And believe me, you deserve that. If these words are resonating with you, if you're recognizing some of your own experiences in them, please comment number 6 below. Let's affirm together that joy, peace, and emotional freedom are things we are worthy of, not someday but now. And if you haven't already subscribed, I encourage you to do so and turn on the little bell icon. Your support allows us to continue creating thoughtful, nurturing content. Content designed to honor and inspire you, wherever you are on your journey. Now, dear friend, let's walk onward together. Final thoughts. As we grow older, our time becomes even more precious, and so does our peace of mind. Choosing who we allow into our lives isn't about being harsh. It's about being wise. It's about honoring the years we've lived, the lessons we've learned, and the serenity we've earned. You are not obligated to keep relationships that drain you, pressure you, dismiss your wisdom, or make you feel invisible. You deserve to be surrounded by people who see your value, who respect your boundaries, and who celebrate the beautiful, authentic person you have become. Remember, protecting your peace is not selfish. It's an act of deep, quiet self-respect. And you, dear friend, have every right to choose joy, choose dignity, and choose yourself every single day. If this video resonated with you today, If you're ready to embrace your life with more peace, more strength, and more joy, please comment, "Protect my peace" below to let me know you're with us. I would be honored if you would subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss future videos designed to inspire, encourage, and walk alongside you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Your presence is a gift, and your journey is something truly worth celebrating. Until next time, stay gentle with yourself, and remember, every chapter of your life is worthy of honor.